Hey folks, welcome. Here we are working on worksheet 1.4. We're solving equations with multiple variables for just one of the variables, trying to isolate a specified letter. Just to keep in mind, something that I'll ask you and myself is what is being done to the variable? What's being done to it? And when I say it, I mean the variable that they want us to isolate. And then keep in mind with PEMDAS, does this sound familiar? This is how you simplify a bunch of operations at one time. We always work from top down when we solve, but when we're undoing equations, we undo, so that's for solving. When we're trying to isolate a variable or undo things, we undo from the bottom up. That's why we always undo addition and subtraction in most equations right away, and then move on to multiplication and division. So let's look at number one. We're solving for h. Let's put a little spotlight on that. We want to get that by itself. Unfortunately, it's not. So you ask yourself, what's being done to h? And what's being done to h is it's being multiplied by, h is being multiplied by L and by W. They're really together. I could really rewrite this equation, V equals L W H. Okay, so they're being multiplied. It's being multiplied by LW. So how do you undo multiplying by LW? You divide by LW. You could do this in 2 steps if you wanted to, but it's faster if you do it in 1 step. It's not about speed, it's about doing it right. So the L's and W's divide out to 1, and then we get H equals volume divided by length times width. And oftentimes we want to write that isolated variable all by itself on the left. So then we just switch the left and the right sides. So there we go. Volume equals length. Oh, do you see what I made a mistake when I switched the letters? That's L times W. There's L times W. Boom. Number 2, solve the circumference of a circle for R. So we ask ourselves, what's being done to R? R is being multiplied by pi and by 2. It's being multiplied by 2 pi. So to undo multiplying by 2 pi, we divide by 2 pi. Hey, look at this. So now the 2's are gone and the pi's are gone. So we're left with R equals circumference divided by 2 pi. Or R equals C divided by 2 pi, to put that variable on the left side that we solved for. Let's try the next one. Solve for the perimeter of a rectangle for W. We want to get W by itself, and we ask ourselves what's being done to it. It is being multiplied, W is being multiplied by 2, W times 2. And then we are adding to it, see that addition sign there? To the W, we are adding a positive 2L, so plus 2L. Remember, when we are solving for a variable, we undo addition and subtraction first. So I need to undo adding 2L first by subtracting 2L. And what I do to one side, I got to do to the other side. Oops, minus 2L. So on the right side of the equation, I have 2W. On the left side, I have P minus 2L. Those are not like terms. They're not the same variable, so I have to write out P minus 2L. All right, so I've undone adding 2L. I almost have the W isolated, but it's still being multiplied by 2. See right there? So to undo multiplying by 2, we divide by 2. What we do on the right side, we have to do on the left side. That entire left side gets cut in half, which means taking the entire left side and dividing by 2. So now I'm going to write, instead of bringing the W down, I'm going to actually bring it on the left side of the equal sign, and then I'm going to bring this over to the right. So we have P minus 2L all being divided by 2. Cool beans. Another answer you could get is if you kind of resplit this up, P divided by 2 plus negative 2L divided by 2. So both these things are getting divided by 2. So you could write p over 2 plus negative L, or just negative L, because the negative 2's would cancel out there. Something that's up to you, kind of how you want to write it. Alrighty, number 4. Solve the area of the rhombus for d sub 1. This just means diagonal 1, d sub 1, and this is said d sub 2. That's for diagonal number 2. So it's actually not a math operation. It's kind of like your footnotes as you're reading through your books. It's just keeping track of the number of footnotes, or in this case, the number of diagonals in a rhombus. So we're solving for d1 right here. So what is happening to d sub 1, or diagonal number 1? It is getting multiplied by d2, or d sub 2. It's getting multiplied by that. It's also getting multiplied by 1/2. And I could have put these together. I could have said multiplied by 1/2 d2. This one, for some reason, I feel like it's going to be better to do it, to take them one at a time. Now, these are on the same level of operations. So you can choose which one you undo first. I'm going to choose to undo multiplying by 1/2 first by multiplying by 2. You could do this second if you wanted to. Doesn't matter. So I'm multiplying the right side by 2. I'm multiplying the left side by 2. That undoes, on the right side, multiplying by 1/2. So on the left, I have d sub 1 times d sub 2 equals, did I say that on the left? That was on the right. On the left, I have 2a. So there we go. I almost have d sub 1 all by itself. It's just getting multiplied by d sub 2. So I need to undo that by dividing by d sub 2. And that's gone. So now I have d sub 1 all by itself. I'm going to write it on the left side. Maybe some of you are wanting to know the variable that you're solving for. You put it on the left right away and just switch the left and the right side initially. That's fine too. So d sub 1 equals 2a over d2. Alright, 2a divided by d sub 2. There we are. Next one, last one. Solve the area of a trapezoid for h. What is being done to h? It's being multiplied by 1/2. And then this is also multiplication right there. It's being multiplied by b sub 1 plus b sub 2. So I'm going to get rid of the 1/2 first. We multiply by 2 to get rid of the 1/2. What we do on one side, we do on the other side. So we get 2a equals h times b sub 1 plus b sub 2. All right. So that 1/2 is gone, and now we just need to undo multiplying by this whole chunk, this b sub 1 plus b sub 2. So we divide by that. And what you do on one side, do to the other. So this whole chunk is canceled out or divided out by the whole chunk on the bottom. And so now we have h equals, I'm going to put that on the left. We have h equals 2a divided by b sub 1 plus b sub 2. There we are.